Hello and welcome to another Battle Ready Minis painting tutorial. Today I'm going to show you a simple way to paint German camouflage. So I've already painted the equipment and the uniform for this guy. If you want to see how I've done that, you can look at my previous video. And I'm also going to be using the camouflage colours from this World War II German infantry Vallejo paint set, which again I used in my previous video. So over a white undercoat, we are going to start with our German camo beige, and we're going to put this all over the areas that we want to have camouflage. So for this model, that's going to be his kind of poncho and also his helmet, because he's got a helmet cover on the miniature. Now, with any camouflage, you want to have a balance between historical accuracy and practicality. If you paint camouflage too well, then it's going to stop your models from standing out on the table. So it's going to effectively camouflage them, which is what you don't want when you're playing games, right? You want them to stand out a little bit and be recognizable. But you also don't want to just paint them completely wrong. So this camouflage pattern is sort of based on the Sumpfmuster 44, which is a sort of fairly generic sort of late war German camouflage that looks quite similar to a lot of camouflage you might see. It's quite simple in its pattern and its colours, and I think that this walks the line quite nicely between accuracy but not being too actually camouflaged, because it's not too dark, at least the way I paint it. So once the beige base coat has dried, we want to use Luftwaffe camo green for this next stage. And what you want to do here is just make these kind of small rounded kind of shapes or splodges. I find it easy to kind of think of them as kind of a mix of lines and splodges. I kind of make little marks like horizontal lines, and then I kind of go back in and dot the brush a little bit to make them more splodgy. The real key to selling this as a camouflage effect, I think, is to just not overdo it. I did some practice models on this, and some of them I put too much green in and it just kind of swamped it and it didn't really end up looking that good. So I think really you want a lot of that beige base color to still be showing through at the end. Try not to get overexcited and don't overdo it. I'd say you still want sort of 70% of the beige showing through, and then just 30% of these little kind of green splodges. So there's only one more step in this camouflage pattern, which is to take the brown. So in this case, I'm using German camo medium brown from that Vallejo set. And this, you're going to use even less than the green. So you're going to use it in much the same way that you use the green. So you're going to make some little horizontal lines and round them out. You don't want any harsh angular lines or shapes. This isn't a kind of a splinter pattern. This is more splodgy based camo, whatever the technical name for that is. But again, the key for selling this is the ratio. Okay, so you want to do some brown on its own in some of the spaces, but some brown splodges maybe overlapping or stemming from some of the green splodges, but you don't want to do as much brown as you did green. So at the end, you want most of the model still to have that beige, then a little bit of it to have the green, and then a smaller amount of it again to have the brown. If you do it in that kind of ratio, I think that is how you're going to sell the model, because you still want it to have enough brightness to kind of read on the tabletop, and that's what that beige color does. But obviously you want the green and the brown kind of camouflage pattern effect, so it looks like camouflage, but it's not actually camouflaging the model on the table, if that makes sense. Now, I did a few extra steps before finishing this model off, like highlighting the skin, but I followed all the same steps that I used in my previous video, so if you're interested in how I did that, you can check that one out. In terms of the camouflage, I washed it with Agrax Earthshade, again, which I've done in my previous videos, and then I just came in with those base colors and did a little bit of highlighting. I didn't spend too much time on this, and I won't show you the full process as it's very similar to my other videos. I wanted this video to kind of show you the basics of how I think about and how I apply the camouflage pattern itself. So here is the finished model with the basing and everything done as well. Again, if you're interested in how I do that, watch my previous videos about painting German infantry. I do plan on doing a more in-depth look at camouflage in the future. I just bought the new Victrix Germans and I'm planning to paint those up with some maybe more complex camouflage patterns. But I wanted this to be a nice, quick version of German camo that's historically accurate and looks good on the table. And so if you found this helpful, please give it a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel because it really helps me out. And I will see you in the next one.